Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be looking at trying out the new assists and the new assist system, but first of all, in order to do that, I've come up with a brand new list in order to see what I think could potentially be maybe like a meta inclusion for the future. So this isn't necessarily going to be a meta list itself, but it's what I think has got a good shot of being along those lines. So from what I've heard so far, we've got basically the melee packages coming back as an aggro list. So I've gone for Antios Gauntlet, Drum Dancer Tali and Blindsider Esley, all of which are here to put out potentially 8 damage in one turn by using Drum Dancer and either a buffed Blindsider Esley or a buffed Antios Gauntlet. Following that up, we've got Maximus as well, so the standard former 1-drop, now 2-drop in the experimental server, really powerful unit. I still think he's absolutely worthwhile, and we've got a bounty on him now, so you can see here in the text box, and a bounty basically means if your opponent kills them, they get 1 victory point, so it's a risk reward into playing that unit. So on this side we've also got Peacemaker Balam, with 1 Cinder to activate, and given how aggressive we want to be, if we can shut down enemy units while attacking the captain, this really does give us a bit more pushing power, and we can if they spend a turn killing our unit that doesn't deal damage, whereas we're sat there dealing 8 to their face every turn, it's going to really quickly turn things in our favour. On the other side, we've got Shrapnel, just as a really solid, another bounty unit, but just to sort of clear things out, apply pressure, hard to kill. We've got Tipu, who works really well again with Drum Dancer Tali to attack twice and grow twice. And we've got Beatrice as well, another Tali target, and what that does is means the spear damage can potentially go through twice as well. We've got Stitchy McPatch in here just to add a little bit of longevity. I don't imagine playing Stitchy most games. Now that we've got 10 units, we feel like I've got a little bit more flexibility in that. And then we've got Florio in here for that end game damage. So we picked Zax as a captain, mostly because I feel like he just puts out the most damage early on, and I wanted to try and stay away from Astra just to try something a little bit different. And for assists, we've gone for Stimburst and Disruptor. Now I believe you can see here they I've only got 1 use each, so 3 uses for this one and 2 uses for this. And I believe it's every other turn you can use these, but I'm not actually 100% sure. So we're going to jump into a game and see how these work with the new assist system. And once you've used up those charges, that's it. There's no more ways of getting assists back, which I think adds a lot of sort of nuance to the gameplay. You really don't want to use your assists unless you have to, and that's the way that I like to play anyway. So that just falls in my favour in something that I'm going to enjoy. So if you like this sort of video, if you like seeing this sort of content, please do hit that subscribe button. Just let me know if this is something you enjoy. If you really enjoy it, go ahead and head over to the Patreon. I'd love to have a few more sign-ups over there. It's the best way to support me in keeping this channel going at the the pace that it is. I'm trying to get content coming every single day, and it is a lot of time and effort put towards it, so any support is greatly appreciated. But if you can't do that, pop a like on the video, pop a comment down, and I'll be grateful either way. So for now, I'm actually going to jump into an AI game and just try out how the new assists work, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun with it and just sort of start figuring things out. And then afterwards I'm going to try and look for a PvP game and just play one of each in this initial video and see how the difference see how it feels a bit different. The one thing I will say is that I'm going to miss just jumping in and not having the assist screen here. I'm so used to it coming up that it's the first thing I'm anticipating. But now, I was going to say, we get choose start position. So we're over here, and we're a Zax player, but we're not too worried. So we're just going to start over this side, because this side does give us an option for better angles over here. So actually, let's just start over here. We can always just move over this way if we need to. And then obviously our opponent's going to pick as well. Now, I really am curious as to how the assists work. I believe you can't use them turn 1. Let's see. Yeah, so we can't use them yet. Assist is recharging. And we have got our early drops. So, enemy captain's over here. So we can get a good line of sight, which is exactly what we'll do. Take a shot. We missed, but that's pretty reasonable at this point anyway. And here I'm going to play... Do you know what? I'm going to play Tali. The reason being is that Tali is actually a really aggressive unit in itself, having 2 damage. And if we've got, Stimburst and Disruptor potentially next turn, of course we take the hit. Okay, so maybe we've ended up in another situation where the AI doesn't actually attack, which isn't ideal. So we'll hit this. We did get the hit. Okay, okay, that's an interesting bug. We've lost the preview circle as to where Tali can attack. So I'm almost tempted to use Stimburst here, but because we didn't use it already, I'm just going to move Tali first and just stay out of line of sight of the opponent. And then I'm going to play either Beatrice or Maximus down. I think it's going to be Max. I think I'm going to go slightly this side to try and get a good line of sight next turn and really start applying that pressure. So as you can see, we've got the little bounty icon on Maximus here. It does go away when you zoom in, so I don't know why I did that. Okay, and our opponent, they're playing Aria. Okay. So the good thing about this is we've actually got 6 damage on the battlefield. So we still don't need to use anything yet, especially not if we hit this. There we go. Can take 2 shots here. So we've taken our Aria, and now this is where we start getting interesting, is that we're going to place Blindside Arrestley over here, and then next turn is going to be the turn we're going to start using these assists. So I'm really keen to see how this goes. We can also just keep an eye on the opponent, see what they do. It is strange with the AI not doing too many things, but... Okay, so Saria we don't want to have to deal with, but we actually just want to stim burst everything. So, we lose a charge. It looks as though it's then recharging as well. We're going to Battle Frenzy this. So, technically we can actually get in range already, but what we want to do is just get as much range as possible. Sorry, as much in range as possible. And make sure we take as much damage off of the enemy captain as we can. Now, the one thing we need to remember here is that we need to use Tali first, because otherwise we could potentially use Zax and push him out the way. We've got that pressure there, and now, if we play a Beatrice somewhere... Okay, so Beatrice can actually just go a little further back, say here, just to apply that extra pressure. Esley, look at the range on Esley, it's ridiculous for Stim Burst. Move in here and get this nice big attack in for 8 damage. So we've put a huge amount of pressure on. This seems to have worked really well. This is exactly what we were hoping for. And the question is, how does the assist work? So is it just going to, you know, sort of speed up? I do think the ability to just pick your assists is so strong, because now we're almost guaranteed to have that extra range that we need. So I actually think this is going to buff Extilior quite significantly as well, because Extilior being able to guarantee the Stim Burst is a huge deal. I'm probably going to struggle to find things to take other than these two. I do want to try out some escape hatch lists. So you'll notice in this game as well, we've not actually got any victory points because we're all just going for it. Yeah, okay, so that's recharging. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm just going to try and take him down just to a lower amount of health. And I'm not going to go for any further attacks because I want to check that the assist comes back next turn. But to make sure we can kill them, I'll pop Florio down. Who knows, maybe just attack Saria a couple of times, who I'm starting to get the name right gradually. Nothing else. I mean, technically Beatrice can come here and just go for a little chunk. So, it's still showing us recharging, but we don't know if that's going to now come back the following turn. It would be good if there was an indicator showing, you know, it's available next turn, because that would make me more comfortable, but it could just be that it's down, and that's just how you know. If it's every other turn, that's quite straightforward anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But this does feel like a really interesting difference, because I now don't want to use my Disruptor unless I really need to, and that's something that's going to really impact the decision making. So before, when I was talking to Grissy previously, Grissy was saying that because they recharge every couple of turns, or every 3 turns, whatever it is, you feel like if you're not using it immediately, you're losing value, because it's not going to recharge as quickly, so you get to use less assists over the course of a game, and it's then going to be, you know, putting you behind in terms of impact on the board. Oh, interesting. I can't tell whether our opponent... Oh. Opponent disconnect. So that would be one of those bug fix ones. I'm assuming... I'm assuming that our assists would have come back next turn. I'm just going to play again, just to try the assists out immediately, and I will concede the game as soon as that's done, because this is the experimental server. These things happen, and I don't really want to, you know, cut this out of the video, because I want to give you like the authentic experience, and this is genuinely what happens. So, funnily enough, of all the games I've played, this is the first time I've ever had one with Syndicrates. I've not seen a single Syndicrate in a game that I've had so far. I like these animations, they look great. So choose start position. We can basically move near one Syndicrate or the other. I'm going to go to this top one here, because I should be able to move up here, deploy Antios over here, and then the following turn gain some Cinderam if we need to. So we'll try that out with our Stim Burst, and we actually get to try out an extra mechanic that I've not seen so far. So, okay, our opponent's dropped Antios and is moving over. That's fine. So we could just try and hold this middle objective. So why not? Let's pop Tlali down over here. In fact, they've got a melee unit up front, so let's go Antios in case we want to do that. And now if they don't do anything, we're going to score 2 VP. I think these animations, they're cool, but I think they could be toned down a little bit, just so we can see the battlefield a bit better. Yeah, so this is now contested, which is fine. We're going to try and move over to this, I think. Okay, so they've got Maximus. We can actually potentially kill this. Okay, so they're stasising Cinder Orbs. I did hear about that. And Orbital onto us. That's fine. So let's try the Stim Burst. And let's try just being somewhat wasteful with our Cinder just to get this tested out. So hopefully we hit this, or this is a waste of time. Okay, good. There's no way to come around here and avoid Astra, so we're just Inner Energy, smack Maximus down. Okay, we got the crit anyway, so that was actually completely wasteful. I should have thought of that, because if you do crit, we could use the hit from... Oh, the truck door's open now. Nice. I know someone said there's a few other things that... Oh, the lights flicker. See, I like all these changes. We're knocking over bar stools. I'm now going to just go through around the map clicking things. Oh, little hatches. This is fun. I like all these changes. I think they're great. Someone said there was something about the vents previously, but I don't know if it's these or something else. I feel like this... I really want to get introduced to this guy. That must be Blasco or something like that, because he's the guy from Blasco's Refuge. Okay. Oh, can knock over a barrel of some sort. Okay, I think I've randomly clicked around enough of the entire battlefield here to call it a day. Sorry if that was not your style of play. That's something I just couldn't resist doing. Okay, so they're going to try and go for our Antios here. Oh, they've got Deadeye. So Deadeye with 7 health. I forgot about that. So we got a victory point there. So we're up to 2 victory points because we did kill a unit with a bounty as well. So I think here we go for this. If we get a crit, we probably push a little further, but we didn't. We still want to hold this objective. And I think what we want to do... I actually think here I'm going to play 2 units. The reason being is that I want to be able to hold this while still testing out this, and even though I don't think it's the right thing to play, I think this actually just helps. So it's interesting that we could potentially use this to change our opponent's scoring as well. We could just push them off of an objective. Okay, so they're still moving into our... Ooh, they've got Scattervine. So Scattervine can stop us scoring here, yeah. That's going to be so interesting, using Scattervine or like deployments to deny other people's scoring. If they don't use an activation here, we're good. I do want to try this Cinder and see what happens. If they... I'm not sure how Orbital on that works, but... Okay, that's fine, we're losing that. So let's just shoot this first. Does this give us 2 chunks of Cinder? 1. It does, because it's 2 separate attacks. Okay, so where does the other one go? Over there. So we can take these, but we'll have to get hit to do it. But I think that's probably worth it. Let's just take some shots for some additional Cinder. We did actually leave this objective, which is quite funny, because that was not the correct play. So we can inner energy this now, kill Deadeye, gain a victory point, move down here. We could do this as well and just take some damage off of that. Let's just play... Oh, this is interesting. I really like these changes. I'm going to play Shrapnel onto this objective just to stop them scoring it. And we might as well chunk a bit of damage here. Yes, we get hit back, but I'm not too worried about that. We are going to take a bunch of damage over here, which is interesting. So I did hear before that the final hit isn't currently giving the Cinder, which is good news for us. I do think the Cinder here is just such a big advantage for hitting these crates, so I'm not sure if I think it's the right thing to have in the game or not, but I need a lot more games before I can figure that out. So, Shrapnel is in the mood to come over here, I think, and just try and get shots onto these. So as it stands, it would hit Tlali, so we just need to move Tlali out of the way. Get this shot going. pretty good shot here, actually. That's awesome. We're going to move in here just to take it away from Scattervine, but we are just going to push damage onto their Snareling and try and do that. Okay, we failed. What have we got left? So Antios can... I think now is a Stimburst turn. So we're going to give up this objective, but if we pop over here and Inner Energy, we can do this. And then actually, if we get the angle right here, we can take them off of this completely and push us onto this one. So that's a really big boost for us. And then probably want to play like Blindside or SD down over here, because that's something we can use in conjunction with Slally next turn and take this away. I wasn't actually planning on playing this game out, but I'm actually really enjoying it. And these control points feel good right now. Interesting, is that actually on both? So it's interesting to me that you can control 2 objectives with 1 model. It's something that some games allow you to do, some games don't. But so this middle one's hotly contested, but if we can clear things out around here, we're in a much better spot. Okay, yeah, so we could lose our Tali here. Yeah, and now they hold that completely. So, next we need to find pressure. And I think our pressure is going to come from just hitting the enemy captain. More Scattervine, sure, but I think at this point we could go for 6 victory points, but I think we're better off trying to just go for the 10 and killing the captain. I think this has added a lot more depth. This feels really good to me. So we'll move over here until we spend our Cinder. What the question is, what do we spend it on? It could just be Tipu and Stitching with Patchy. We have to do that last, so... In fact, you know what it is? It's Inner Energy is one of the uses. We will get to here, I think. This looks like the right angle. Yep, just hit our enemies, not ourselves. We missed the one that we really wanted, but that's okay. Can we get a good Maximus line of sight? Not really. So can we get it onto anything? Let's go for Arya. She deals actual damage. So we'll take the -17 and just go for that. There's no point in going for Tantan because it'll actually be pretty much the same. We've used all these. That's currently 2 melee. This needs to be last, so we just deploy a 4-drop, which, let's be honest, we're going to pop our Tipu down over here. Get another big hit in. Get Zax to get this shot in. And I think we're in a really good spot to kill the enemy captain next turn. So they've got their first couple of victory points. I like that the animation makes it clear, you know, something happens and you can see that. This feels really good. Like, this feels very clean. It's hard to score victory points, which I actually think I kind of like, because it does give you sort of a... You're still incentive to go after the enemy captain. You know, you're not just like, oh, I'm going to sit here and protect this, I win. But it has got another means of winning, and I think this will also stop draws happening as often. You know, when well, not draws, but you know, like there's really long-winded endgame scenarios. And now we should have access to our assists again. I haven't even really thought about the assists as much as I thought I would do. It still feels very comfortable, but it's good knowing that you've got them as and when you need them. So last turn it was on cooldown, so this turn it should be back again, so it does feel like it's every other turn we get to use them. I may be wrong, but that's how it feels. And honestly, I haven't felt like I was lacking them, but I'm looking at this now thinking, right, I really need to make good use of my last one, which is, I think, the exact intended, you know, outcome here, is that people can't just throw anything else you want out all the time. Okay, something just got shot. I don't actually know if... Oh, it was... What was over here? Was it Maximus? Yeah, it's Maximus. So Max is dead, but we've got enough damage here to push this through. It's still interesting to me they can hold both of these at once. So we need to spend 7 Cinder here. We've got Stitchy or Beatrice and Florio, which is good. But I think we actually just Inner Energy instead. Get this hit off. Go for the Zax hit here. And then we can just spend 5 Cinder on Florio and kill the enemy captain for the victory. Awesome. Honestly, this feels so clean. Like, I really like how this currently feels. This is probably my favourite version of the game yet. The units don't feel as ridiculous. Like, I still feel like I could beat someone down. You can run at them and you try and take them down early, but it didn't feel uncomfortable. I think that's great. This screen still feels a little bit busy, but I don't know how else you could do it. I mean, maybe just the captain here and then 2 rows of units after the banner, or banner to the left, captain here, then 2 rows of units. It does just feel a little bit like too much information at once, or even just the way it's scattered out. There's no easy flow to read it. So while I appreciate the having it all there together, for one thing, this almost makes Zax look like the least important rather than most important. So I feel like a large Zax here, maybe actually a banner here, large Zax here, and then 2 rows of 5 units along this side, a bit smaller. I think that feels a lot more comfortable, with the assists maybe somewhere underneath, because it just feels a little disjointed at the moment. But all in all, I still love the inclusion of this screen. I like that it shows the victory points based on including the 10 that you got for the captain, so it shows you're winning on objectives and killed the captain. And then here obviously you got the enemy one, the same thing. I really like this. I'm really, really happy with these changes, and hopefully now we can just jump into a PvP game and see how this works in that environment. So I'll see you in game. Okay, so unfortunately there's no one around at the moment who's able to come and play a PvP game with us. So what I wanted to do is try out a couple of different assists in another AI game and see how they function. So I've gone for this time is Plink and also Stasis Field. I've got another Cinder or Cinder chunk map, I suppose I should call it. And I wanted to see how different this functions. So here is very interesting. I'm actually going to start here with the intention of trying to attack these early on, because these are more things that gain us free Cinder. But I wanted to see, because obviously Plink is something usually had a short cooldown, and Stasis something had a long cooldown. So we're only going to get 1 use of Stasis, but I wanted to check if everything's still available from turn 2. So it's going to be very interesting. This is also very interesting as well. Yeah, it does look like we're going to get those uses fairly early on. So here I want to check the range. There's not really many spots we can move without just being in range, so we just have to take the best shot we can get. And here, neither of these really make a difference, but if we get Tali and that into range, yeah, so we are still safe here. If we get Tali and Zax to deal damage here, then we can actually kill it without needing to use any Cinder, so that's why I'm going to pick Tali over Antios. I'm going to go for it here. So there's only the 1 victory point on this map, and it is going to be held by Exterior, so we're just going to try and go for this early on. They've got the Stim Burst, so they can get in range here, but they can only deal 1 damage. Interesting, the Cinder Orbs move as well. If they attack here, that's great for us, because, okay, they attacked that. Does that give us some Cinder that we can pick up? So that obviously gives the attack back. We should have done this in a different order, but it's fine. Are we both just trapped in place, really? This is one of those things that's really frustrating, because we just placed this here trying to be safe, and now neither of our units can ever move again by the sounds of things. So maybe we have to do this over a couple of turns, or it is somewhat frustrating, I will admit that. So if we pop Maximus down over here, we do gain that Cinder, which is nice, and we can place Antios Gauntlet down, I think just over here, to make them react to it. But yeah, this is a very frustrating situation. We might have to like Grav Disc or something to get out of it, but we didn't take any Disruptor, or so it's quite a difficult situation. So here, does that still count as them touching? Yeah, they are still touching that. Okay, so there's multiple options here that are going to be things that we want to kill. So we could probably kill Taria and actually start looking at playing a victory point game, especially if we go... Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, we still can't do anything really here, so let's try and move a bit further around. No, still nothing. So we'll go for... I mean, this is going to be our best bet, so what if we go over here first? So I'm just going to spend some Cinder here and just go for some damage where we can get it. It's absolutely ridiculous, this situation. We're trying to just gradually rotate around so we can get out of there without having to use all our Cinder. I think we're in a position where we actually just shoot this for Cinder twice and then take some of the Cinder and deploy onto it. I'm hoping it just doesn't deploy it onto our opponent. And now Maximus can move onto this, gain another Cinder. And then can we actually just Grav Disc into this? We can't even Grav Disc ourselves out, it looks like. This is... Yeah, I mean, that needs to change. I don't think anyone's particularly against that in theory. So we gain that additional Cinder, we'll Plink over here. We can just take our range shot, we've got a 1% there, or nothing there. let's just finish this off. It doesn't, I believe, give Cinder on the last one. It just clears a bit of space out. So they're getting these victory points, but we're going to start moving on to this for next turn. And we're actually doing fairly well on that front. This is, yeah, like, I'm going to have to point this out somewhere, that the fact that these two can't even be disrupted out or anything like that is very awkward. We only need to put one unit on here to deal with this, so the fact we can just put Beatrice here is great. And we can use these things all to clear this out. I just don't understand how that's still a thing. Okay, if we were in melee range then that'd be great, but might as well take this shot first. Of course we miss. Move slightly further around with Tali. Still trapped, but we're making slow progress. What about Grav Disc now? Does Grav Disc actually pull us out? Not quite. Okay, so we're still going to go for this. Try and get some crits in. Move over here. Antios is going to have to go for the big attack again. Could go for the hit here. And just ignore the points for one turn. That's a perfect line, there we go. Doesn't hit anyone else, we gain another point. So we can place Esley over here, but it doesn't do anything other than stop them scoring for a turn. So I actually think we just place Esley over here. There's nothing left to do here, so we pass the turn. The fact our captain has been stuck for this long, I mean, I can't stop saying it. It's very frustrating to deal with. I'm going to have to try and Cinder Infuse next, Grav Disc here next turn to get us out of this, because I don't see how else we're going to make it. But I think there is a good chance that our correct play is to start putting damage onto... Oh, we've got Stitchy now to deal with. So they can potentially gain some Cinder. Okay, that was pretty good for us that Stitchy went there.
Every day's full body day.
Okay, can we Grav Disc in any direction? None of this pulls us out at all, so we're still gradually moving this way. It looks like, anyway. No. Okay, we're just going to hit this. Can't even move out of the way far enough, can we? We're going to have to just go around here with Antios. So this can come over here, and we're just going to have to try and Grav Disc here. This is an absurd situation. So this is about as far as I can go. Does this do anything? Of course not. It may have even just stuck us even further. What an absolute mess. Okay, that's good for us because it means Plink is now an option. So we're obviously just going to Plink this. We're going to play Peacemaker Balam down to try and stun those other units next turn. But for now, we're just going to stun Extilior. And if we pop over here so that we've got this objective slightly, stop them scoring it, just go for a big hit. I'm not easily frustrated. I usually am like, these things happen, but this is infuriating. I'm just like, please just let me use these units that I've paid the Cinder for. Oh, the AI's using new units now, so we've got an Noxie against us. So the thing is, this is also a really fun situation to use... oh my goodness, what am I saying? To use Grav Disc and Balam together. So we want to be doing that. How many can Balam hit already? So at the moment it's really not that much. So can we Grav Disc? It's basically these two together. Let's find out. Okay, so that might now work. Might be able to Balam these two. Yeah. So let's just do that first. So these two are no longer an issue. We can pop over here, use inner energy, just get some damage down. Beatrice can't do anything useful, so it's just going to move this direction. Maximus can't get line of sight onto Rickety, which is what we'd be aiming for if we were going for anything, so again we're just going to spread out. These two are going to pretend that they can... I don't even know if they're actually moving. This feels so silly. We're going to pop a Supermind down here just to get a bigger Esley hit. We're going to hit here, hope not to get crit back, and then just actually move down this way. And let's put Balam in the way. Actually, no, Balam's super scary. Let's bring Balam back here. Keep Balam safe. Okay, so we're doing alright. We've used our one-time stun. It didn't do as much as we hoped. Ooh, Stim Burst. But it feels right that that's a one-off use. Yeah, it really does. Oh, please shoot us now. Please shoot here with a low chance to hit and then just blow up all your friends. Go on, Rickety, do it. Do it. Shoot, I dare you. Ooh, what's this? Axel Pyro. So it does look like they're trying desperately to control this center objective, and it looks like we're going to actually... Ooh, they hit it, really? And didn't explode. So genuinely optimal situation for our opponent there. Okay, so we're going to move Beatrice here and try and hit Florio. So that does hit Florio, but it also hits Antios. So where does the line go? Okay, so if we move to here, we should be alright out of this. Yeah, so there we go, we can hit this. We can inner energy here. Go for that. Can Maximus get any line of sight here at all? Onto Florio? Unfortunately not. So we basically have to go for something here. It always feels like we have to go for Rickety, but what if? What's this? This was Axel. So can we get a 3-unit stun? I think we probably can. Is that getting... I think there is a world where we get them all. There we go. 3-unit stun.
Just look like you're thinking.
So who does Maximus go for? I mean, ideally we need to just hit Rickety. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up here, and I'm actually going to Grav Disc Maximus. Oh, come on now. Okay, this might work. 53, so we might hit one of these. Of course we missed both. So there is a slight bit of movement here, but
This thing runs on Hanson.
of course we're just going to move over and over.
Need a moment to take all this in.
Sure, this is terrible news. I actually don't think we need to use our Plink here, because nothing really does anything. So all I want to do is just place another unit like further up, I guess. We're towing into that objective. We can't do anything here. Yeah. This is a weird one. This whole game is different if our captain isn't stuck. Because... yeah, there goes Florio. They get their bounty. Please explode this time. Okay, they missed us. Explode on all their team. Great news. We score a bounty. We're probably going to score another bounty here. We are very close to scoring one here. Okay, we did. Yeah, that's good news. Annoying that there's a Toxoid here, but hey, we can deal with that. So we'll hit this. This is where we can make good use of our Plink. Can either of these make any real movement? I know that I'm trying this every turn, but it does look like it's moving a tiny little bit. Next turn, nothing still. Okay. So Balam is going to be our big Spore Puff end game here. Do we have anything that can get anywhere decent? No. Honestly, here I think we're just putting Florio down. Popping a Sleeper Mine near Extilior, making them go for that, maybe? Yeah, let's just do that. Given that this is stunned, we'll just deal 1 damage and not worry about it too much. Yeah, that's that. We might lose Balam here, but we're clearing up in terms of unit control. This is a good spin for them. Yeah. We're now equal on victory points. We can kill Florio for an extra one, and we can start just dealing with things now.
Wise men don't judge, they punch.
So we can hit all of these here, which is great.
Incoming!
We can get this attack, which doesn't do anything to them. This is
Just come right through me.
Be fierce and bold.
so silly. Sure, we'll just inner energy up here and try and clear out Beatrice slowly. Pop another Sleeper Mine over here. And I guess Stitchy comes... Stitchy can just stay back here, actually. We don't have anything to protect. And if they want to run away from the centre, that's fine by us. Yeah, so we're just going to basically clear this up through damage, I think. Just taking out the captain. And that's going to be the end of the game. But this is... I love the assist feel. The fact you can only use stun once feels perfectly balanced to me. Doesn't feel wrong in the slightest, which is good. We're just going to spend all our Cinder on slapping abilities. More slapping. We don't have any grab disc left. We might as well plink here. Stitch, you can come over here. And we'll just do our little traditional shuffle. It's utterly ridiculous. But we've got lethal next turn. So I really do like this feeling of the assists. It does feel like you feel like it's a real resource. And I'd love to be able to get this in a few PvP games, maybe for a next video. But for now, I'm really happy to have got this done. And I'm really impressed with how this has changed the game. So if you like this video, please do hit that subscribe button. It really does make a big difference to me. Like I always say, there's now the Patreon, which would be amazing to get some more supporters on there. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And ooh, season! I got really excited for a second, forgetting that this is the experimental server and that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, please support on Patreon if you're able to. Liking, comment, and subscribe on the channel is amazing. It really does help me out. I know, what you guys like, what you don't. I'd love to see more of that. But most importantly, I hope you enjoyed this and have a good day.